Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And I have a very important question for Dion. It's about income. It's about double, tripling, and quadrupling an income number. And I think most people are thinking about the wrong thing. But how you doing, Dion?
Howdy, I'm doing great. I am recovering from 3 days of talking, going to the event. Thank you for putting that together. It was awesome finding people who are doubling and tripling their income.
Yeah. I got to ask, one of the things that I was very hopeful for is the experts for my channel. People would seek you out and ask to get selfies or pictures with you, maybe even an autograph or two. Did that by chance happen?
There was a lot. I'm hoping people post it and tag me in it. I did sign every book that came to me with, I was going to
Oh,
sign this
nice.
book, but not today. So
I saw
that
one of
was the
those. That was
reaction.
classic. That's
No,
classic.
that was great because interacting with people face to face and knowing that this is real, knowing that it's just an average person who made work completely optional, and to talk about this income, the way we look at it is the first step is most people think I make $100,000 a year, so to retire I need to make $100,000 a year. But when you're working, you are saving for retirement. You're paying the highest tax bracket that there is. You have commuting costs. You have like all of these things that the expenses will disappear. The only thing that generally goes up for most of us is healthcare. So do some research on how that works. And don't let that be a barrier that stops you from working, because all you have to do is have an asset for every expense. How much is your insurance premium going to be? I have the healthcare duplex, the transportation duplex, the dating, everything else. But have
Yeah.
the idea of how to cover those expenses, because I know so many people saying, yeah, I can't quit my job because I need the healthcare. A
Yeah.
thousand dollars a month increase to your premium is why you're selling your life an hour at a time for $1,000 a month that you could just go get an asset to cover.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
the first
crazy.
step. Second step is the brilliant strategy that you've talked about for I think over a year now. Every time I hear it, I'm like, yep, that's what people need to focus on, is this disposable income.
Yeah. So when I ask folks about, their freedom number, which is not something we've talked about in a while, right? We've been very focused on the housing market, but the freedom number is it, right? What is it? What do you really need? And then we talk about needs and wants and getting that down if you want to. But really, at the end of the day, the net of Get Your Money Right, which is a $99 course I have, is understanding your disposable income. And the fact is, most of the people watching this, A, don't know their disposable income, which in my opinion is a gargantuan mistake. You can't address, you can't double, you can't triple if you don't know. What do you think of that?
No, I think it's actually normal for people not to know what disposable, because we talk about budgets.
Yeah, we do.
Budget says I will not spend more than this on this topic. I will not spend more than this. It doesn't say I make this much after all of because you've worked in positions where you know what a burn rate is. Every month, this amount of money is going to be spent. It's static, it doesn't change. These other things might fluctuate with the cost of fuel or how much travel you're going to do, but you have your set burn rate, and then you have what's left. People don't understand that how important that number is. That last number, where it's kind of like property management. We think it's only taking 10% or 8% of my rents, but it ends up being 50% of your net.
Yeah,
When you
I
know,
want to hit that. I want to hit that again. You brought that up at the our mastermind, and I saw an audible gasp from the audience, and I just want to do it again, right? So you have a, I'll just take Norris Drive, my first house, 1,100 buck rent. My net on that house, let's call it 300 bucks, but I was paying 100 bucks in property management. So property management wasn't 10%. Yeah, it was 10% of gross. It was 25% or 33% of my net, depending on how you want to calculate it. That is an amazing way to look at
the 100% is what you were paying them if there were absolutely no issues and nothing to
it.
respond to, and no upcharge for maintenance to go out, and nothing like that is a part of it. So it ends up being, I've every single portfolio I've looked at for friends who have property management, we've shown that it was at least 50% of net or more. I
It could
haven't found one
absolutely.
yet that was less. Even
No,
my
you're
brother, who's
absolutely.
only getting 6% on the, he has seven of his properties in property management, three that he self manages, and those seven with the 6%, it was well above 50% of net.
Yeah. So again, folks, we need to talk about we need to again, I would ask you to think, A, if you don't know your disposable income, get out a piece of paper, work it out. If you don't know how to do that, spend 99 bucks and buy the course, get your money right. But also understand, once you understand it, that's the number that's important. Your gross income means nothing. I work in the Silicon Valley where most of my neighbors probably make $200,000 or more. Most of my neighbors are living paycheck to paycheck, or at best could survive 3 months without their job. That's not okay. Most people's disposable income is, I've done this a lot. There was a time where I talked about get your money right a lot. I just haven't for the last year. I think I've done this at least 100 times. Most people's disposable income is less than 5% of their gross. And most people, it's zero. And a few are negative. And that is an eye-opening experience. When you look at the bottom line and you have a negative number, that means you're living on credit. That's not good.
So the 60% of the studies we see where 60% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and a certain percentage can't survive a $4,400 expense without going into more bad debt. It tells you that disposable income is actually really small for the majority of people. And you broke this down one time, and I'll probably butcher it because I'm not the math guy. I'm the lazy guy, which is a badge I wear with honor. If you make $20 an hour and your disposable income is 10%, so you take out your fixed expenses, rent, car, mortgage, car, fuel, food, entertainment, everything, what's left is 10%. So you're making $2 an hour in disposable income. And then you buy your kid a $500 PlayStation. A lot of people do the math is I work $20 an hour. So at 20 into 500, 25 hours, probably did that all wrong. But I'm giving up that many hours to buy my kid this thing. But no, if your disposable income is $2 an hour, you're giving up 1,000 hours of your life to buy a $500 gaming system for your kid. And when you put it into perspective like that, doesn't mean you don't buy the gaming system. It means you understand the weight, the significance of that expense when that's what your disposable income is.
Yeah, that's a big part of the get your money right. All these aha moments, and you did the math exactly right. And just think about what Dion said. And you have a $500 gaming system. Your kid wants it for Christmas. This, that, the other. You could think about making 25 bucks an hour, or let's just do 50 bucks an hour. So that's 10 hours. Wrong, wrong. You got to pay taxes and this, that, the other. It really is. You are making that optional purchase only with your disposable income. It's not part of rent. It's not part of food. It's not part of entertainment, right? It is an optional decision, and optional decisions are only with disposable income. And if your disposable income is, I just think about this. You don't make 28 bucks an hour. You make two because you've already sold your life. You're going to work next week to pay your bills. You are only getting $2 an hour in this example to do whatever you want with. Folks, we need to worry about our disposable income. In fact, it is the only number that matters. We are heading into a recession. It is going to be a bad 2023. If you don't get hyper focused on your disposable income today, you are making a mistake. You will get in trouble, I promise you.
I am trying so hard to drag people kicking and screaming to where I am, which is a fraction of where you are. And I'm still small enough to actually share numbers. Disposable income is 5 figures monthly for me. Like literally, I'm saving it. I'm going to buy another investment, and because I'm broken, and that's what we do, right? The money comes in, you buy more money with it. But there are people who are selling their lives for that $2 of disposable income that might be there, that aren't buying assets, that aren't thinking, how can I have income come in that I don't have to sell my life for 1 hour at a time, and then get that to 3 or 4 times your expenses, to where if it's 3 times, that means 2/3 of your income is disposable income at that point, instead of 5 or 10%. And I never would have thought that was even possible 10 or 15 years ago before I decided. First, you have to realize money is made up. It's not real. And it's a game that most people don't realize we're playing.
Yeah, I got bad news for you. Everybody's playing the game of money. Whether you know it or not, you are in the game. You just are. Money is the currency. Oh, look at that. It's the flow. It's how the world works. It just is. And you're all playing it. Some of us playing it better than others. And again, I want to stress in the $99 Get Your Money Right course, there's a lot, but understanding that it's all about disposable income is one of the golden nuggets. And Just most people don't get. And again, that video game example is perfect. No, it's not 10 hours of your life, it's 1,000 hours of your life. And then you should have a conversation with your kid, honey, or kid, or whatever. You know that dad or mom has to work half a year to buy this for you. I'm not saying mom or dad won't do it, but I want you to understand this game costs your dad half a year of his life. Maybe the kid won't want it. Maybe.
Yeah, and until you have the conversation, you'll never know. That was one of the things I learned. The cheat code to life, the real reason why I was able to reach financial freedom was house hacking. And a lot of people say, well, I can't do that because I have kids. Well, I went to my kids and I presented it and they got all excited. We lived on a house in a lake. We lived in a house on a lake with boat launch, tennis courts, basketball. Like we had everything you think a kid would want. And they said, we're going to move to an apartment complex that has a heated pool and other kids to play with. And I get to go to a new school and be the new kid. Why didn't we do this already? I never would have thought that
No.
would be their perspective until we had the conversation.
Yeah. Folks, do me a favor, talk about money more. We're heading into what I think is going to be the roughest year of on the macro of my adult life. Your job is to take care of the micro. That's why Dion's going to be okay. He took care of the micro. That's why Lumberjack, myself, my other ex, we're going to all be okay. But it's because we took care of us, our families, the micro unit. The macro unit could be the worst ever. We're going to be okay. In fact, most of us, is my strong suspicion, will be stronger on the other side of this. We'll be talking every week, so we'll find out. But yeah, it's all about disposable income. Dion, where can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, trying to figure out what to do with my money. Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.